What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventure 1994 here, and I want to talk about the Leafs and the Panthers series. I'm a fan to neither of them, but I want to talk about the two teams. I know Tavares is on the Leafs, and I'm no Leafs fan, but this is something that has to be talked about right here. So, as we all know, Toronto finally made it to the second round in almost 20 years. But I need to address that with you guys. The way that they've been getting eliminated in the first round through the last 5 years was totally uncalled for. And they've been choking for the last 20 years. It's been really hard for them for the last 20 years that they weren't able to make the playoffs or qualify to the next round. I really think something has to be done with the Maple Leafs' choking. They always tend to choke every single year in the playoffs nowadays. Like, I'm thankful they made the second round, thank goodness. Even though Tavares is on the team, I can't stand them, but something really has to be done with the Leafs playoff choking. And it's been really hard for them with all the droughts they've been having and all the early eliminations they've been facing. This just goes to show that something really has to be done with their playoff performance. Because, in my opinion, the way the Leafs choke in the playoffs and the way they've been choking in the regular season like years ago, before 2017, I really think it's unacceptable because you can't have this in Toronto. Especially for being an original six team. You can't have this in Toronto, where you have to look weak for almost 20 years. Yeah, I don't think it's acceptable for any original six team. Like, they really need to do something. Like, send in more guys or a better coach so they can help them out in the playoffs and give them a cup future. But I haven't really seen that in the Maple Leafs. I really think they need to do something because it's really unacceptable that this has been going on to a original six team for the last 20 years. Especially for a team up in Canada who won 13 Stanley Cups. And they haven't won a cup in like over 50 years. I really think something has to be done with them. Once again, I'm a fan of neither of the two teams, but this is something that has to be talked about by any hockey fan. In my opinion, this choking of the Maple Leafs has to stop. They're on the verge of elimination from the Florida Panthers right now. And I know they made the second round for the first time in 20 years, but the choking is still here. We should all be thankful they made the second round at least. But they're still choking. They're on the verge of being swept tonight by the Panthers. Yeah, this is really unacceptable. You can't have this in Toronto. Or you can't have this in an original six franchise. I really think something has to be done. Like, either add more guys or a better coach to brighten up their future when they make the playoffs in more years. They can't. I really don't want, despite the fact that Tavares is a snake and all, I really don't want them to suffer more choking in the playoffs for years to come. And it's been not right for Toronto to go through a drought all these years of missing the playoffs for like 5 or 6 years. Like, after the lockout, they just collapsed after 2004. And when there was no season, they just collapsed afterwards. And they did not come back into the playoffs until 2013. And then they had a 4-year drought after that. They just looked really bad. They were all the way at the bottom. Yeah, I know they're doing perfectly well in the regular season, but something has to be done with their playoff performance, because it's unacceptable how it's been 6 years and they continue to choke in the playoffs. I'm glad they made an accomplishment to make it to the second round at least, but they're still choking. But it's still not right for them to be eliminated in the first round over and over again. Yeah, it's like no work has been done for them. Yeah, someone should really step in and make the team stronger in the playoffs. Like, have somebody step in. On the brighter side, let's talk about the Panthers. Now, we feared that the Panthers were not going to make the playoffs this year, but they had enough strength to beat out Pittsburgh for making the playoffs, and they at least made a wild card. And I really think they're about to make some history here. I'm really impressed with how they took out the President's Trophy team, the Boston Bruins, who had 65 wins this season. And now they continue to get stronger. I think they have a solid future ahead of them. And they just keep on getting better. It looks like they're coming close to a cup. Like, maybe not next year, but maybe sometime this decade, later on, they might win a cup soon. I haven't seen them this strong in like forever. They returned to the playoffs after a 4-year drought back in 2020. And they just got better, and then they won the President's Trophy in 2022. And they continue to show some magic. So hopefully they have a bright future ahead of them. And they're doing pretty well in the playoffs, believe it or not. They went from missing the playoffs for 12 years, and then they just started making playoffs 4 years apart from each other, and now it's annually. They're making the playoffs like every year now. So things are getting better for this Florida team, and I wish them many more solid years. And I wish them luck sweeping the Maple Leafs tonight. I know it sounds like I switched from feeling sorry to Toronto and feeling happy to the Panthers, but the Panthers have been a desperate team for God knows how long. It's about time they show some credit. Even though these teams are not my teams. So, best of luck to Florida tonight. Hopefully, Toronto has a better future in the playoffs, and I guess that's it. Bye.